Okay, so it's morning of day 27, about 7 o'clock. Just about ready to hit the trail. The breakfast drink's working out great. Not sure what I'm going to do when I run out of that, but that's all working good. Had a pretty good night's sleep. It was cold, another 28 degree night, so I'm glad I slept in my filter. Big news is to the campers, Ava and Jasper from Netherlands. Looks like they just came down with norovirus. So not real happy about that. They can't, maybe 20, 30 feet away from me. They probably came down with it last night. That's not good. We'll have to keep an eye out for that. But aside from that, it's a beautiful day, mostly downhill. The Deep Creek Hot Springs is like 22 miles away. So I'm not sure if I want to try and hit that today or lay up short and hit that tomorrow. I think today's mostly downhill, so we'll just see how the day plays out and we'll figure it out on the way. See you down the trail. Starting off the morning, you can see still got some snow-covered hills in the back. Nice little pine forest. Walking along a little creek. Not sure if that's tamarask or what's going on in the creek bed, but just a beautiful day. I can't see it. But just short of that top, there's a little crow's nest in there. One just flew out. There's still one in there. I don't know if he's going to stick his head out or not. See a little bit of movement there. This might not be able to zoom in far enough. Right about in there. Just taking a little snack break, about 5 miles down the trail. Just met up with Sinobre again. Walked with him a little bit on the last section. We gave him a ride in a Big Bear. So Sandra had to tell me what his trail name meant. Obviously I don't speak Spanish, but Sinobre's no name, or I guess man without a name. So everyone's got a trail name, even if you don't. I think I got probably another maybe 5 miles to Pipe Spring. I'll do a water fill up there. Probably have lunch down there. So far, gorgeous day. Not a cloud in the sky, nice temperatures, birds chirping, downhill. What more could you want? So we're about 290 miles down the trail. So a couple things I failed to mention. One, this is now my longest through hike ever. The previous was John Muir Trail, which was technically 211 miles. We probably did close to 230 with some of the side trips, and John Muir Trail, you finish on top of Mount Whitney, so you got 11 miles to get back down to your car. So we're about 60 miles more than the longest through hike so far. So that's milestone number one. Second is we passed a 10% point. I think as we pulled in Big Bear, I was at 265 miles, which is almost exactly 10% of the miles. Now days, I'm probably close to like 17 or 18%, but that's expected with all the zeros I was taking early on, and you definitely go slower at the start than down the trail. So anyway, that's two somewhat significant milestones. Just thought I'd mention. See you down the trail. Okay, first major catastrophe. So this is a pretty big stream here. I passed it once, maybe, or crossed it once, maybe half mile ago. And there are a couple of routes you could take with rock hopping across. Here, I'm on the other side now, but I was looking at that log, going across that log to this big rock, to this rock, through the brush and over. But then I thought I found a better spot. I don't know if you can see it, maybe not. Downstream a little bit. I can't get over there now, but it looked like there were some better rocks to hop across. And just as I was entering, my foot slipped and I just slid sideways, so the whole right half of my body is just laying in the stream, straddled across the rocks. Half my backpack's in the stream, and I didn't even, I'm like a foot from shore. So I got through, picked myself up, and then came over to, this is a spot where the PCT comes. and I ended up just walking across because I was already soaked. So I'm over here. Now if you can see, this half of my backpack was soaked. I got to sit in the sun, drying out my fleece. Luckily my sleeping bag is in a plastic bag. I was a little bit lazy since it was cold out, and I put my puffy jacket in just my clothes bag. So we'll see if that stayed dry or not. I'll pick this up, but right now I'm just soaked. So for my legs, my shoes, up to my knees is completely soaked. The whole right side of my body is soaked. Luckily I didn't get hurt. That's the most important thing. And luckily it's still before noon and it's a beautiful day, so I can just hike it off and dry off. The biggest thing, I said a little prayer, the biggest thing is my phone's still working because it was in my right hand pocket. So my phone was submerged. Thankfully it still works. I'd be kind of up the creek instead of in the creek if my phone wasn't working. Said a little prayer and it worked, so thank you. See you down the trail. So this might be a better shot of the creek that I just fell in. You can see it's got a lot of water in it. It's about knee deep and maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 feet across. But I'm walking off now. I dinged up my middle finger on my left hand. It's not broken or anything, I just bruised it. And I'm just basically soaked. So trying to get some sun and dry everything out. Okay, so I just started packing up. I thought I'd show you, kind of have a little yard sale going on here. Got on down, it's about 11 o'clock now. Just had to do another creek cross. I just walked across because my feet are still wet. But got all my gear out and assessed. I think my sleeping bag caught the worst. I'm sorry, I think my tent caught the worst of it, which is no problem. So I just have my tent drying out in the sun there. Checked my sleeping bag, and it was still a little moist. That's just the toe box from the condensation last night. Had where we camped last night was kind of a low valley next to a creek. Cold temperatures, no tree cover, so it's kind of perfect recipe for condensation. So my tent was a little bit moist from the condensation to begin with. Then it got soaked when I fell in the river. My sleeping bag was just a little bit moist from the condensation, nothing in the river, because I had it in this Nylophone bag, all sealed up. So that's why you carry a plastic bag inside your backpack in case you get caught in a rainstorm or fall in the river. So other than that, just drying everything out, and we'll be back on the trail shortly. So after my misstep of falling in the creek this morning, I phoned ahead and had them build this bridge across Deep Creek, because you know, one fall in the creek in a day is enough. So they did a pretty good job getting this thing whole built here in just a few hours. I'm pretty impressed. Thanks, guys. Walking across the Deep Creek Bridge. No way am I falling into this sucker. There's Deep Creek. PCT's going to the right. There's cabins going to the left. So here's the whole Deep Creek Gorge that we're hiking along now. I just crossed over it. Maybe you can see Deep Creek down there. I think they call it Deep Creek because the gorge is so deep, not necessarily the creek. But we had a nice bridge, so that was good. Looks like we're going to be picking our way along this for quite a while. I think tomorrow we'll get to the hot springs. And at the bridge, I had cell reception. So I was able to give Sandra a call. It felt really good. Turns out she was able to fix a sprinkler problem. So life's good at home. Life's good on the trail. Life's just good. Okay, there she is. 300 miles. 300 trail miles from the Mexican border. Only 2,350 to go. And that's how many miles from the Canadian border. I guess the 3 and 5 fell off right there. Pretty awesome view of Deep Creek here. All the way down. Okay, so we got a nice little bench. You don't see those on the trail too often. More importantly, look at this. Wooden bridge. Ever since I took a spill in the creek today, the trail gods have been providing bridges for me. So, thank you, trail gods. Okay, so here it is, wrapping up day 27. It's about 6 o'clock, a little bit after 6. Pulled up a little bit early just because this was a good campsite. The next couple didn't really interest me, and then there's the hot springs. I didn't want to go all the way to the hot springs today. So pulled up a little bit early, but still did, I think 18.2 miles. It was a pretty easy day, all downhill. I should say it was easy until I took the spill in the creek. That kind of woke me up and kind of set me back for a little bit for the day. Had to dry out all my gear. Luckily, I didn't get hurt. Nicked my finger a little bit. My middle finger in the left hand. Didn't break it, but it's sprained or swollen or something like that. So it just makes it hard to hold the hiking pole. So you gotta hold the hiking pole with some other fingers, with my pinky finger and that. So it's a little bit awkward, not quite as responsive, but it's minor. For if that's all that happened, I got away lucky, because that could have been a bad scene. And my sister took a similar spill last year, and she broke her wrist. That could be a game over for the trail, and end up breaking a bone or something like that. So that was the excitement for today. Actually, today it's kind of a day of calamity. I mean, woke up, a couple campers right next to me, Ava and Jasper from Netherlands. I think they woke up with norovirus. Ava was really sick. Jasper had a upset stomach, and they were just holding up in camp. They were still there when I left, still in their sleeping bags. So hopefully they're doing better, but that's unfortunate. And then talking to Steve from Chicago, he was telling about coming down San Jacinto, and he got struck by a rattlesnake. He surprised one and it bit him. He had to hike out 5 miles to get a hitch into the emergency ward or emergency room, and luckily it was a dry bite. But he gets into the emergency room. They immediately tell him to go in a wheelchair. He says, "Man, I had to hike 5 miles to get here. I think I can go the 300 feet to the examination room." So anyway, he lucked out, but that was kind of a scary situation. So other than that, it was a nice downhill hike most of the way. Hiked a lot along Deep Creek, beautiful creek. So we'll be hiking that a little bit tomorrow, and we'll see how that goes. Kind of night and day for the campsite. I'm camping in a dry wash here. So there's a few sites over there, and you can see my tent behind me over there. I'm the only one here. So after yesterday, with probably a dozen people, at least, maybe 15 or 20, camping around that little bear camp, it's kind of nice just to be all by myself, and have some peace and quiet tonight. I guess that's it for today. We'll see you on down the trail.